Hello, welcome to Kitchen Science. I'm Miss Diane from the Ridgefield Library. Today we're going to talk about things that are solid, things that are liquid, things that are gas, and we're going to make a fun substance to play with called Oobleck. So let's get started. This may be something you've talked about in school, that everything you can find belongs to three different groups. They're either solid, meaning they're firm and hard, and not always hard, sometimes semi-hard, a little bit soft. But the molecules in them are really tight and they stay together. Other things are liquids, and we love to drink liquids, don't we? You might have your favorite liquid. I like to drink tea. That's my favorite liquid. Maybe you like soda. And in liquids, the molecules aren't tight like this. They move around. And that's why liquids can be poured. And then the third group of things are called gases. And gases, you typically can't see them. And the molecules are moving so quickly and they're so far apart, they just go into the atmosphere. And there's different types of gases, but they're not something we can see very well. So today we're going to talk about the easiest one first, and that's water. And water is so cool because water can be a solid, it can be a liquid, and it can be a gas. Not everything can be all three, but water is one that can. And to start with water in its solid form, that's called ice. So I brought some ice cubes, and I'm going to put ice cubes into my saucepan. And this part you need an adult because you're going to be using the stove if you want to see it turn into a gas. But ice cubes, as you heat them, you know they won't stay solid for very long, that they'll turn into liquid, they'll turn into water. And as they heat and heat and heat and get hotter and do a little boiling, they'll go up into the atmosphere, and then you can see the sign that they've turned into a gas. So let's do that right now. Here are my ice cubes. Plop, plop, plop into my pan. I don't know if you can see them. There they are in there. I'm going to turn up the heat, and it will just take a few minutes for those ice cubes to melt. Now, none of this is a surprise to you. This is something you see every day. But let's see it one more time. Hi. It only took a few minutes for those ice cubes to melt and turn into water, and just a couple minutes longer for the water to start to evaporate and go up into the air. Now, if you can see my little pan here, here's the water. You can see the water, it's liquid. Well, it's hard to see, isn't it? There it is. But it's very, very busy. It's not boiling yet. Now, I remember this is something an adult needs to help you with because the stove is hot and the water is very hot now. But I think you can see it between you and me. I see some water vapor going up into the kitchen. And we call it steam, but steam it's a gas called water vapor, and you honestly can't see the water vapor, but you can see it when it starts to condense and make teeny tiny little droplets of water in the air. And there it goes. It's boiling and boiling and boiling. Now, if I let it sit there long enough, all of the water will evaporate in the pan, but I'm not going to wait that long. We have more things to do. Let's talk a little more about solids, liquids, and gases. Solids are really easy to find around the house and outside. They're things that are hard and their shape doesn't change unless we do something, and we can change their shape. But the molecules stay very tight, and even when we change their shape, all the little pieces that might be there still have the same molecules in them. And I found this great rock outside. It's a solid, but we could break it if we tried very hard, couldn't we? The counter is a solid. The cabinets are solid. So many things are solids, and they're easy to find. Liquids are easy to find, too, because they are things that pour. Now, a liquid, what's something that's special about a liquid, it doesn't have its own shape like this rock or this counter, which is made of stone, or other hard things like that. With a liquid, it becomes the shape of the container it's in. So when water is in a tall container like this, that looks like its shape. But when it's poured into a glass or any other shape, it becomes a different shape, because the special thing about something that's liquid is it takes the shape of its container. Now I have another liquid here that doesn't pour as quickly as water, and this happens to be corn syrup. It's very sweet and it's very thick. And when I pour this into a container, it has the shape of this container that I'm pouring from, and it's going into another container. But if you look, it doesn't pour quickly like water at all. Come on out. Come on out. This is called Queiroz Serum, and it's syrup. It's kind of like pancake syrup. It's a lot thicker. And here it finally comes. Watch how slowly it pours. It's taking its time. Come on out. Come on out. Come on out. And it will take a while for all of it to come out of the bottle. But it is also a liquid. It's just a very thick liquid, and now it's kind of lumpy, but when I let it sit for a while, it will spread out. It will take the shape of this container, because liquids do not have their own shapes. Now, gases are really, really hard to catch, aren't they? So gases, you can catch them if you try. The easiest way is to use a balloon to catch carbon dioxide, which is a gas. And you just do it by blowing it up. Now I captured, when you breathe in oxygen. When you breathe out carbon dioxide, and there's still a little bit of oxygen in there. But you can't see it, but you know it's there because I filled this balloon with my breath, and it's full of gas. I'm going to let it out. You won't see it come out, but you'll know it will come out because the balloon will not be round any longer. Ready? This is fun. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 and let it fly. All ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh. That's always so much fun. Well, so we talked about solids. We talked about liquids. We talked about gases. Sometimes it's hard to tell if something is a solid, a liquid, or a gas. I brought 2 eggs today, and one egg is hard-boiled. I cooked it. The other egg is raw inside, so it's a liquid, and the yolk is a soft liquid. Well, I wanted to have a hard-boiled egg, and I mixed up. I don't know which is which because they look the same. The hard-boiled egg looks just like the raw egg. But when you spin them, the one that spins slowly is the... No, I'm not sure. The one that spins slowly is the raw egg, because there's liquid in there, and the liquid's sloshing back and forth inside a little bit, and it's making it slow down. So let's see if I'm right. You saw I wasn't quite sure, but we're going to open them up and see. So I'm going to spin one and the other. Oh, this one's moving much more quickly. I'm spinning it with the same strength, but this one's going very slow. Let's see if I can spin them at the same time. Can you tell this one's going slower? My eyes can see it's going to stop first. There we go, because it's moving slowly. This one's still spinning like crazy. So what did I tell you? I told you the slower one would be the raw egg because there's liquid inside. Let's see if I'm right. Ready? That was the liquid one. That was the slow egg. And this fast egg is my hard-boiled egg, the solid one. So I'm going to take my hard-boiled egg, and this is how you can change. You can change solids if you try. You can change them by breaking them up. I could break up that, but I thought we might have fun by breaking this egg. Now you know it's hard-boiled, so it's not going to make a messy mess everywhere, but let's see what happens. Shall we count to 3? 1, 2, 3. It is solid, but if I tap it hard enough, it will open up inside, and we can see what's inside, and it's a mess too. But it's not a liquid mess. There's a solid yolk in there that I mushed up a little bit. There's the egg white that I mushed up a little bit. And it's still called a solid. We couldn't call it a liquid, right? Because it doesn't pour and it didn't turn into a gas. So this is still a solid, but it's a different shape. It's a different shape, okay? So that's a little thing about eggs. We're going to do our experiment now. And these are the ingredients you will need for our experiment. We're going to make some oobleck, okay? All you need, it's a very simple experiment. You need cornstarch. You need water. You need a bowl and a spoon. And if you have those things, then we're all ready to go. Hello, are we ready to start? When we do an experiment, we always have something we're thinking about. What do we want to learn? So today we were talking about solids, liquids, and gases. So today we want to learn if there's something that is not really a solid, is not really liquid. It's kind of hard to tell what it is. And there are some things like that. So today we're going to make one of them, and it's called Oobleck. And Oobleck's lots of fun. It's very messy. So I did put on my apron. Please put on your apron. It's not dangerous. It's just messy. So to make Oobleck, we need cornstarch. You probably will find that in your kitchen. Water. I'm sure you'll find that in your kitchen. I'm going to use a little food coloring just to make it more colorful. And that's it. So I'm going to add a couple drops of food coloring to my water to make it. Isn't it fun to watch when it spreads? It's so much fun. So I'm going to make, my oobleck's going to be green, isn't it? I'm going to mix it up. Looks like Jell-O. Put some cornstarch into a bowl. I got a large bowl here. I've already put in 2 scoops. These are 1/4 cup scoops, so I'll put in another one. It's almost a cup. I might need to add a little bit more. I'll know that when we're working, when we're doing our experiment, when we do our experiment. So what we're going to do is I have almost a cup of cornstarch in here. Hard to see because it's white. The bowl is white. You'll see it better when it becomes green. Pour some water in there, not too much. Just a bit, and start to stir. Now, it's kind of hard to stir, and it's kind of soft. But I'm stirring it up. I'm stirring it up and stirring it. Maybe you would even like to see it a little better. Let's make it brighter green, so you can see it better in my bowl. Ooh. I'm stirring it up and stirring it up and stirring it up. Well, I don't know. It looks like a liquid and it feels like a solid, and it's kind of driving me crazy while I'm stirring it up. So let's get a better look and see what it can do. Okay, let's see what's special about this oobleck we made. As you stirred it, you could feel it was very hard. There were solids in there, but it looks liquidy on top, and actually it pours, and it does take the shape of the container. If you hit it with a spoon, it feels like a solid. It's not splashing me at all. So it does kind of act like a liquid. Look, it's even dripping. But it's very, very hard. But you can't really experience it unless you touch it. This is the part that's going to get a little bit messy. Make sure you have some paper towels on hand. But take your fingers and squeeze it and pick it up and let it flow through your fingers like a liquid. But you can feel it's hard. And it doesn't really feel wet. It feels dry. So this is a special liquid called a non-Newtonian liquid. So this acts differently than most other liquids, but it sure is fun to play with for a while. But I must tell you one very, very, very important thing, maybe 2 important things. Do not eat this. It's just made out of cornstarch and water, and even though we use cornstarch when we make some things like gravies and pies, you do not eat this. And also you do not put this down your sink. When you're ready to get rid of it, you pour it into the garbage because this will clog up your sink and you'll have a big problem. But have lots of fun. You can pour it into a bag or into a Tupperware bowl with the cover on it, and you can play with it another day. But it is fun and it is messy. Ah. Wasn't that cool? What did we learn? Well, today we learned that most things can be divided into 3 groups. They call them the states of matter, but they're just groups. They could be solids, they could be liquids, they could be gases. And I said most this time because some things it's very hard to tell because it changes. In our oobleck that we made, and I hope your hands aren't too gooey. In our oobleck, we made a liquid that also feels like a solid. When it's hit or pushed on, the atoms get very tight together and it feels very firm. So it feels like it's a solid at some times and also a liquid. It has a fancy name. It's called a non-Newtonian liquid. But that means that it's a liquid that doesn't act like other liquids. It does take the shape of its container like other liquids, but it feels like a solid and a liquid at the same time. So anyway, that was lots of fun. I hope you had fun doing kitchen science. I've had a really good time looking around the kitchen. I bet you could find some more experiments you could do on your own. You can always send us an email and let us know. I'd love to hear what you're doing yourselves. So take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.